Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from Kirkland Signature. This is their Islay Single Malt Scotch Whisky, coming in at a 50% ABV, no age statement on the bottle. So, Kirkland Signature tends to be the brand that you find at Costco. Now, you can find it outside of Costco from time to time at some stores, but for the most part, you're going to find it there. This comes and goes fairly quickly a couple times a year in some areas, and luckily enough, it showed up here in Indiana. So, we don't know where this is sourced from, but I'm a huge Islay fan, and this is very budget friendly, like to the point of me going, what are you bringing to the table? It is 50% ABV, and again, while we don't know where it's at, we know it's a single malt, which is really cool. The question kind of boils down to, is this worth grabbing? And to be on the surface, a lot of the Kirkland Signature bottles are pretty decent for their asking price. Now, I haven't delved down every bottle they do, but from what I've had so far, I think they're pretty solid. But let's find out how this one goes. So as always, we're going to be trying it two different ways. First way, neat, no ice, no water. Second way, we'll add just a drop of water, see if anything changes up. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of good stuff. I will link some other Kirkland Signature bottles that I've picked up and reviewed. Those will be up above and down below, so you can enjoy those after this video. But I just randomly ran into our Costco. I was like, I always like to check if I'm near one. And I was out doing some errands, and I was like, let's stop in real quick. And I kind of talked myself out of it, because I'm like, they're not going to have anything different right now. We're in the middle of summer. But they had about, I would say maybe 12 of these left on the shelf. So I'm really pumped here. Beautiful color. Yeah. Now, from what we've been told, I think Alexander Murray is the one that's doing the sourcing on these. So they do a lot of sourcing for places like Total Wine and just, kind of grab bottles at a lot of locations. But you know what? If it's good whiskey and it's worth the price, that's all I care about at the end of the day. I don't care. Beautiful color, though. A little darker than I was expecting. There may or may not be color in here. We don't know. Nonetheless, let's go for notes. Shut the front door. What? That is smoky, almost barbecue smoke. There's a savory note in there. I'm salivating. Wow. Man, that... that reminds me of Ardbeg at first. That is beautiful. And it's 50% ABV. Surprisingly, it doesn't come across super strong in a youth note or an ABV. I mean, it is simple when it comes to Islay notes. You have your smoke, your salty, your sea breeze, your earthy, your peaty. Now, usually when it comes to Ardbeg, I tend to find some crisp, almost like lemon notes or a fruit note in there. And I'm trying to see if I find that. Maybe a little bit, but it might be projected at this point. It doesn't remind me of Lagavulin or of Lafroid. Brook Latte. Maybe? Man. But that is, when you say an Islay Scotch, this is almost the poster child notes for an Islay Scotch. But honestly, this is gorgeously done. Very classic. I love the salt. The smoky, savory notes is what's kind of throwing me for a loop because there's not too many of them out there that have that. There is kind of a fruity note in there, but it is definitely hidden behind all the peat and earth and smoke and saltiness. All right, let's go for a taste. Oh, that's good. Smoky, earthy, peaty, salty. The salty is doubling down, tripling down. That is salty. But there is not a lot of sweetness in this one. Boy, I don't know who that's from. It may be something I haven't had yet. That is 100% a possibility. But the complexity, it's not too bad. It clings fairly well, but not as much as left here in the finish. More salty and a little bit of oakiness is left here in the finish with that smoke layer. But that is really damn good. Yeah, I mean, again, on the palate, it is coming across as the poster child of an Islay Scotch. Smoky, earthy, peaty, salty, sea breeze, almost seaweed. There is a little bit of youth in the taste, so it's probably a little bit younger than what most like 10-year-old scotches are. I'm just going to take a wild guess on that one. That's probably why you're not seeing an age statement on this one. I'm going to guess that probably a good percentage of this is younger, but there it has to be some older quality going on here. That is that is too darn good. I'm really enjoying the seaweed notes going on in here, because it is a seaweed saltiness, and that's where I'm probably getting that bit of savoriness coming from, almost umami flavors, but not quite. I wouldn't go that deep down that rabbit hole of umami flavors, but it is just a little bit savory mixed in there with that salty and the peaty earthiness. The grain does come up on the taste a little bit, but it's not off-putting. It doesn't taste super young. Like, I wouldn't say this was like 2 years old or something crazy like that, but it's just got a beautiful, lightly Islay palate to it. And again, I think this would hold up very well with things like Ardbeg. And man, again, we're going to do some AB comparisons with this one, because that is a darn good bottle. Oh, I'm so happy I picked this up. Again, I was kind of looking for it for a while, and I could not find it. When it drops, and it sells up fairly quickly. So, being that they only had about 12, I'd say maybe a dozen bottles left on the shelf. I don't know how long it had been there for, but I'm so happy I stopped by. All right, let's add a little drop of water, see what changes up. Under most circumstances, when we add a drop of water to something like a smoky scotch, we're going to lose out on a lot of the smoky, earthy characteristics, and usually makes it go a little sweeter. All right, let's go for notes. Oh, that nose is getting more and more sweet, smoky over here now. Here, there is, man, it is getting to be more and more like Ardbeg. There is starting to be a little bit of fruit zestiness going on with the water version. You're losing out on some of the smoke, the peat characteristics on those, which again tends to happen, nothing against the whiskey itself. But it actually holds up pretty decently. It doesn't go super sweet or super ashy, at least on the nose yet. But definitely, I'd say at least 50% dialed back compared to the neat version. But this nose, that is evolving. Almost bacon savory over here now for me. And to be honest, there's only one other whiskey I can think of that brings across the bacon smokiness on a very consistent basis, and that's Lagavulin 11. I doubt they put 11 in here, but I love that note in the Lagavulin 11. Well, let's go for taste and see how it goes. Drink's a lot thinner. Goes a little more ashy, and the grain notes are showing up on the taste. But honestly, I've had other budget scotches be in that same flavor palette territory, and that's not half bad. It doesn't linger long, a lot shorter than the finish over here, which is expected, but you are getting a bit of ashy, sooty notes, a bit of saltiness in there as well. The savoriness surprisingly hangs around fairly well on the palate. That ain't half bad either. Honestly, if this is how it tasted from the get-go, I've been like, oh yeah, that's pretty okay. Second sip here, it's getting a little bitey, just in a youth bite, which again is expected. Yet again, this is probably a very young whiskey blended in with a little bit of older. As always, it doesn't matter what you drink or how you drink it, as long as you enjoy it. All right, let's talk about market price, because we all know market price is market price, and it's always going to vary. I paid $35 for this. $35 for a single malt Scotch whiskey. Now, looking around online, there's nobody really selling it, but some other Costco's make this go as high as $36, but it tends to float right in that price range. $35 all day, any of the week. This is a beautiful sip. And here's why. You're gonna need some big boy flavors in half the cost, or at least $30 less cost. Like in my market, Lagavulin, even the 8 tends to be almost $60. Same thing with Ardbeg, same thing with Lefroy. Those can vary drastically. Even at Total Wine, I want to say they're like $58 or $60 for Ardbeg. Now, granted, those have a 10-year age statement, so do keep that in mind. But this is a beautiful bottle if you want to decanter something and let people drink from that. Or if you're looking for a good budget scotch to get into without breaking the bank, because you don't want to spend $60+ on Ardbeg to find out if you like it or not. If you find this easily, yes, pick it up. I might have to pick myself up a bottle or two for backups It's that damn good. What comes across is classic Islay. There's nothing wrong with that. And what it's bringing to the table for the price is punching much higher than what it needs to be doing. So to be honest, yes, it gets a huge buy for me. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Kirkland's signature Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. I love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I even like it might